The New York Rangers are one of the best teams in the entire NHL and also do sit right now in first place in the Metropolitan Division, a few points up on the Carolina Hurricanes. So they're sitting in first place in their own division. They're one of the top teams in the entire NHL. So we're going to kind of take a look at the lines that we've seen from the Rangers and kind of talk about what moves this team could look to make to kind of upgrade this squad, make them a lot better come playoff time, because we know right now this team, although they are a very good team, I think let's be real here, we obviously know this team is very, very talented. They definitely still do have their flaws offensively and defensively as well. So we're going to kind of take a look at the lineup, kind of break things down here and kind of take a look at what moves this team needs to make to upgrade this team and make it a true Stanley Cup contender, because that's obviously what we want to see happen. We want to see this Rangers team actually go to the Cup final and win the whole thing. Yeah, that was great seeing this team go to the conference finals a couple years ago against the Tampa Bay Lightning and losing there. That obviously sucked. Going up 2-0 and then come back and win 4 straight. That sucks. You make it to the conference final. You're so close to the Cup final, but you just can't make it there. We all know the end goal is to win that Stanley Cup. So hopefully, whatever moves Chris Drury and this front office does make at the deadline here, hopefully it is for the good and this team ends up actually getting over the hump there and making it all the way. But taking a look here at the lines from the game against the Chicago Blackhawks the other night, obviously things do kind of consistently keep changing in the lineup. The bottom six especially is changing quite a bit constantly, but for the most part, we do kind of know where everyone kind of sits in this team right now. So let's take a look here, kind of what we saw the other night against the Blackhawks, kind of talk about what this team could upgrade at the deadline. So starting off, that first forward line was Kreider, Zibanejad, Wheeler. We know it's kind of a 1A, 1B situation there with the forward lines, but that doesn't really matter. So the top line there, like I said, Kreider, Zibanejad, Wheeler. On the second there, you had Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere, which is obviously a great line. Nothing is being touched about this line. Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere, they're going to stay together pretty much the rest of the season, I'd imagine, and into playoffs as well. But you can definitely look to upgrade in other spots, like that third line there potentially, where you have Will Cooley, Brodzinski, and Kakko. That third line center spot there is definitely one that we could take a look at here to upgrade as well. Looking at the fourth line there, you have VC, Gaudreau, and Pitlick. It's a decent, forward lines there. I think is pretty solid. We have some solid depth there. Obviously, that third line, having Cooley and Kakko as the wingers, I think is pretty great. But ideally, they're obviously adding in potentially another center would be kind of a decent idea there. Potentially, you add a nice third line center there to kind of center that line of Cooley and Kakko. And then you can move down Brodzinski to that kind of fourth line center spot potentially. Move Gaudreau over to the wing. And then you have, obviously, on that fourth line, like VC, Brodzinski, Gaudreau, with Pitlick as that kind of extra forward. I think that could be a decent little look there. And I really do think this team does kind of need to add in a center at this year's trade deadline. And I don't think it has to be an elite one. It doesn't have to be, an Elias Lindholm or a Sean Monahan that we've obviously already seen traded away. It doesn't have to be one of those kind of guys, a top six centerman, a really, really good one. It just has to be, I think, a decent kind of two-way guy, good defensively. Ideally can kill penalties, play pretty physical, but be a just kind of decent bottom six center. I think is kind of what we need to add in. Now, if we do stand pat with Brodzinski and Gaudreau is kind of that 3 and 4C, that's all right, but definitely not ideal at all. And then if one of those guys is injured, then the depth really falls off quite a bit. And obviously another spot this team definitely could look to upgrade is that top line right wing spot alongside Zibanejad and Kreider. And I'm not really saying this team is going to go out there and obviously trade for a top line right wing, or they should, because I don't think that's realistic necessarily. There's not too many great options out there, but I do think that going out there and acquiring a guy like a Frank Vatrano from a couple deadlines ago from the Florida Panthers when we traded away like a 4th round pick for him, I do think that that's kind of the move that we should and need to see out of this front office here, is going out there and acquiring a decent, right winger or winger, whatever, to go on that top line right there alongside Zibanejad and Kreider. Kind of help out with that scoring there, try and get things going, because we know they can definitely heat up and be an amazing line, but they also can be a really cool line and cool off quite a bit and not have a lot going offensively. So adding in a very good offensively talented winger alongside Kreider and Zibanejad, I think, could be a really smart move for this team. And like guys, it doesn't have to be a top line kind of guy. It can be, a decent kind of guy we give like a 4th, 5th round pick for, a 4th and a okay prospect or something like that. Something decent to go out there and acquire a good, solid forward to comprise some good depth, as well as help with the scoring offensively as well. And taking a look here at the defensive side of things here, you have for the D pairs, obviously, Lindgren, Foxy, Miller, Trouba, Gustafsson, and Schneider. it's been the same for a long time. But I do think one thing this team could look to upgrade on the defensive side of things here, you're probably not looking to get a right-handed defenseman, having obviously Foxy, Trouba, and Schneider, who I think have all been pretty solid this year. Obviously, I mean, you know, how Foxy is, he's amazing. Trouba's been pretty good this year. Schneider hasn't quite taken that step, but is still a good young defenseman. But on the left side of things here, you're not really touching Lindgren and Miller, I don't think, during, obviously, right now in season. Maybe it is in the offseason where we see a guy like Lindgren or, you know, Miller traded away. That's definitely a possibility. I'm not saying I want to see that happen necessarily, but I am saying it is a possibility in the offseason. Right now, I don't think it is. But the one thing I do think this team should and could look to upgrade at the deadline on the defensive side of things is that third D pair spot alongside of Braden Schneider, which obviously is upgrading Eric Gustafsson. Now, I think he's a good player. Offensively is a pretty good guy. Obviously can move the puck, can be that second power play guy, or even that PP1 kind of guy as well. Like when we saw earlier in the season when Foxy was out, he was doing a phenomenal job at running that power play one there. He was doing a great job at quarterback in that. But we obviously know when Foxy came back, his minutes kind of dropped off quite a bit, obviously getting a lot less power play time, so his numbers dropped again, and obviously now definitely does seem like more realistic that we definitely can re-sign him, which I definitely want to see happen. I think Gustafsson is obviously a guy who works well under Peter Laviolette, and I do think could be a pretty good cheap signing next season as well. But if the Rangers do want to upgrade on Eric Gustafsson come trade deadline, I do think adding in a big, dependable kind of defensive defenseman, a more veteran kind of guy alongside Schneider, I think could be the right move. I mean, right now, I think having this kind of more offense guy alongside him, yes, is pretty good. But come playoff time, I think having that more defensively liable, physical kind of player, I think could be the right move for this team. And anyways, though, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please smash the like button. Don't forget to comment down below your guys' thoughts on this video and what kind of moves you want to see the Rangers make at this year's NHL trade deadline. And also don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for daily New York Rangers content. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.